And the engine's back out again. So, things to do. Got to make more clearance down there for the drive shaft. Didn't realise I needed that much. Need more, so that will have to be modified. I'll probably just take it straight down there where there's room, and then do a little triangulation there. That needs sorting out there. We want to just take the edge off that. I know it's small, but it does give us a lot more clearance there, just for when the engine's rocking. And just take that lip off there. It's not doing anything structurally, and it's going to be in the way of the mid joint for the drive shaft. And then on the back here, we want to put the clutch fitting there somehow. Fuel somehow through up here and have the fitting here, where we can get access in through here. Oh, I need to clean that up. This is definitely a pinch point now for the cables. The cables do feel a bit tight, and that makes sense now. I couldn't see that obviously before. So what I'll do there is we'll just notch into the bulkhead slightly, a little bit like they did here for I think that's fuel lines originally. There's obviously not enough room there now, so we might do a bigger notch in that. We don't want to come in front of this, we want to stay behind, so we can take the subframe off without having to remove brake pipes and cables, etc. So that's the plan. The clutch will probably have to just be clipped along there somehow. We'll just put a clip under there to keep it out of the way, and then fold it round. That's not the end of the world, that's just a clip there, and we'll have that done. We'll clip it to this rather than the firewall, probably, again for that reason that you can just unclip it there and it comes with that. Cables and stuff, if it came round, that'd be an absolute nightmare. And the fuel line, if it came round, that's a pig. So we're not doing those things. Master cylinder cap reservoir is on the way for this. Just going to be mounted up there, that's fine. And we need to make a little bit of clearance for the wiper motor. I did know that. But now there's less sort of structural here. There's still obviously quite a bit, because this is the brake master cylinder, but we didn't need to go round a joint here that used to be, because you're having to get up there. So we can go around the other way and create a curve in that as well. So lots of little things now. We're sort of now just snagging, I suppose. And obviously I've marked up where the this is going to go. So that's going to go there. So we're going to put a nut in there on the other side, a bolt, put that in place, and then we can start making brake pipes up there. So there's plenty to be getting on with. Let's get on with it. I think I'm going to start with the brake pipes, because you can't really do very much with those. I can move the other bits easily. So yeah, I'm going to start with those. This may be the third time I've said this, but hopefully this is the last modifications to the subframe. Subframe obviously is upside down. We've added a bunch of gussets, loads of little ones, just in places where there was gaps while I was at it, had the welder out. We've sort of put a notch in. Would have been nice to be a bit curvier, but it works. Triangulation. So basically the gearbox sits here, it's upside down obviously, and the drive shaft here didn't have enough clearance, so it's hopefully got enough clearance in there and enough to kind of get your finger or tool in there. So there's the clearance for that. And what else have we done? Oh, there's a gusset over there in that corner there. We've added that. We've added a little bit more clearance here to a piece of metal that was kind of sticking out and just going to get in the way. There we go. So there's our adjustment in that strut for the second time. There's our plate to hold the clutch. There's a welded in nut to hold the clutch line that goes along there, and there's a bit more clearance in there for our cables to come through. The gusset there, and cleaned up that corner there just to add more clearance for the drive shaft to come through here. So now we need to refit it to the car and check clearances with the fuel pipe, the cables, and see what happens when we put the engine back in for clearance for the drive shafts. But before we do that, I'm going to sort this clearance issue out here. Hello everyone. So subframe is back in after many small and slightly more major modifications. Clearance here, for instance, that's the third modification to that area. Little gusset there, 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 little trim there, little trim here, little trim there, little trim there for our cables to come through, so we've now got some space for them to move, not get pinched. That should feel better. Clutch pipe is actually in place, its permanent location from, well, now on. Don't know about what we're doing with the power cable, whether we're going to go this way or straight up or along. I'm not sure, probably over here somewhere. We'll have a little terminal. And so the next step clearly is to put the engine in. It's obviously the next thing I'm going to do. and see where we go from there. Hopefully it goes well. So let's put the engine in and check clearances again. Oh, and of course the last thing I was just talking about, making clearance here. So we've made some clearance there to get in there. That should be just fine and dandy. Some of this I sort of hope more than anything. So let's hope it all fits again. Yay! Right, let's get that in there for the 15th millionth time. Talk about tight tolerances. Ooh, yeah, baby. That is close. Woo! To give some perspective, there's our clutch union there. We're going to have a little fiddle with this, but it's not actually too bad. That gives a little S in the pipe, which is for flex. Fuel pipe's back there somewhere. That's nice and out of the way. I'm happy with that. I'm trying to leave as much room here. I know this wiring's in the way, but we'll tidy this up because we've got a big radiator going to be going in here. So we need to make some room for that, and probably the big fuse box as well. Clearance, we still need a little bit more clearance just here. It's just casing matter. I haven't got a blade that gets big enough to get in there for now, so I actually chiseled away some of the gearbox. I had initial looks, I didn't think there was enough clearance on this, and I got really annoyed. And then I've put the shaft in, and actually, she's just fine. She's not, no matter what angle you put her at, she doesn't rub. And the main sort of joint sits just behind this upright here, which is good. And the gearbox is all clear, if only by a few millimetres, all the way around. So that's lovely. So, yeah, pretty pleased with all the modifications we've made. Brake pipes nice and clear out of the way. I now need to work out where the front brake pipes go, because traditionally on the Mini, basically the brake pipe union goes somewhere where fourth gear is. So might sort of bring it up here probably. I think that's probably the safest bet. Caliper sits around where my fist is, so a little S in the brake line to a union here is probably our best bet, I would think. There's not really anywhere else for it to go, to be honest. I could put it like out here somewhere. I don't think that's too high. One needs to be actually low as sort of, they're normally about, yeah, as I say, where fourth gear is. So probably going to be about here, this side, and on this side we'll probably mount it, maybe put a little bracket just here somewhere, or maybe along here. I'll route it this way or route it underneath round. I want to put it somewhere that as the engine goes in and out, obviously it doesn't crush it. So maybe it'll come through and round and under here somewhere. I don't know. I'm going to work that out next. It's basically got to mark it out with white paint, so that when I take the engine out again, I can follow the white marks and know that I'm going to be clear of all the engine, etc. However, I think that's what I'm going to do next. Work out the brake lines for the front, where they go, find all the original fittings, and get the Mini loom out. Next episode, wiring. Side for brake union bracket, very simple. Basically the OEM place was just here, so we've just brought it out a little bit. I know there's clearance for that. Very simple 2mm bit of plate bent with a little bit of gusset on the side, plenty strong enough just to hold the brake union. We're using white dots to denote route. I thought about going around here and all that, but I'd try and keep it as simple as possible. So it will just come up, go across. I might even just put a little bit of plate there, just protect it, just in the sake of, I don't know, something falling off. Mind you, if something falls off here, anything wheels connected, then you're probably not worrying about your brakes anymore. And then it goes up there, it will go along up there, over the top of the subframe, down there, along the back of the subframe. We will put a T-piece down there somewhere. That's the front coming into the T-piece. And then we'll come across the top, out the way of everything, into here. And this one, whilst it looks like in the most obvious simple place, had to do loads of pokey jiggery, shining caliper, to go up and down on the jack and work out exactly where it should be and where it shouldn't be, etc. So I'll show you a video of it working now, but basically if this starts looping in that direction, it's going to get in the way of the drive shaft. So I'll probably put a piece of rubber sheath around this, even though it's got some PVC, so it doesn't rub on the gearbox casing. And we might even just put like a little piece of rubber around, almost like elastic, just to prevent it going that way, or a little plate just here, that if it wants to try and go that way, it'll stop and it'll in fact curl back here, and it still clears the caliper and everything, rather than curling its way into the drive shaft, which would be bad. Engine's missing. It's there. I did a boo-boo. We now have to fix the gearbox because I might just have ground myself into one of the oil galleries somewhere. I didn't realise they were in one of the webbings, basically. Weird, but yes, arrowlight and some aluminium mix might come in there. So that one's there. I've told you about that. I think I do need to just make one more bit of clearance there, and I think the subframe is finished as regards modifying. But get yourself 50 piggy points if you can count back on all these episodes how many times I've said, oh, I think this is the last mod on the subframe. I'm sure this won't be the last one either. So we added some 6mm plate under here because we had to take this down a little bit more again. I know it doesn't look very pretty at the moment, but basically it had to be dropped down just that little bit more, and I don't want to cut this whole section out again. I noticed I had a little bit of space there by the gearbox, so we've just added some 4mm plate just to triangulate that joint. There's like 3 layers of different joints through here. I don't think it's going anywhere, but there's a triangulation. I like triangles and gussets. I've also renewed this because it turns out it wasn't actually a very good fit. Did have a thicker plate as well because my calculation for how far the rubber crushed wasn't quite right, so the extra 2mm plate is thicker, stronger, and we've added like a sort of lengthways gusset just to help any potential bend. I can't see it bending, but there we go. And then this plate had this little support piece, let's just say gusset again, and then we've added one at the back there, and then we'll obviously grind all that up and clean it up. The plan is to get the shell here rolling without engine to maxes for paint, so it'll have all the bits like the servo and brackets and engine. That will all stay here, and I can paint all that up and be grinding away at that, doing something while Max is sorting out the bodywork, which is far away off still, but that's the plan anyway. So next plan, that's what I've also done here, finally worked out where I want the brakes to come in. So front brakes are going to come into there, and then this is a splitter. I'm going to go over there, down to there, and then down along the edge, up and over, down to there. So I'm going to do that after dinner. That's my plan. Only motor that's actually working. Oh yeah, I'll take that off because I've been touching that all night.